heard you calling.
All her lyrics are all the same. I would have drowned in the melancholy.
4 out of 10.
I think her old country stuff was way better.
Get your heart broken again, please.
Okay, guys, so Taylor Swift drops her album, right? The Life of a Showgirl. But I'm seeing something on TikTok that I thought would never happen. Her own fans are saying that it's trash, which I never thought the Swifties would do this. So I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, the liberal psychoanalyzing of Taylor Swift's new album is off the charts.
They're going to tell me it's not that deep,
It's not.
but I actually do think it is that deep.
For a group that finds a problem with literally everything, this is my shocked face.
The more that I listen to this album, and specifically the song Wish List, I honestly think it's quite sinister and it scares me.
Like white girl in a jeans ad level of scared? Or scared like hearing that fat people can't be in the military anymore.
The reason why is because this is exactly how people enter the alt-right pipeline.
Checks lyrics. Exchanging yachts, fancy Balenciaga gear, and private helicopters for family life is the alt-right pipeline.
Is they find somebody who is the figure that seems kind of like palatable to them or relatable to them, like Taylor Swift.
The billionaire boss babe who spent the first 35 years of her life being a cat lady and all of her albums are about blaming men for all of her problems, who endorsed Kamala Harris and made abortion the single biggest issue to vote on in the last election, and has repeatedly made comments about how much she hates Donald Trump, is relatable to us?
And slowly this person starts sharing right-wing messaging.
Like, what?
Like, I don't care about my career.
You think Taylor Swift's gonna start ignoring her career?
I just want to have a house and kids with a white picket fence.
Well, thank you for at least acknowledging that wanting normal things is associated with the right.
We'll hear that slowly but surely. They become more and more indoctrinated into conservatism. It's the same way that like a lot of mommy bloggers or people that follow mommy bloggers start to go down like the Maha pipeline or like join QAnon.
Let me get this straight. Because Taylor Swift has matured in her views and she is not singing about all of her failed relationships or dreaming about a boy that doesn't notice her. Now sending the message that maybe she wants to settle down. She's now a conspiracy theorist. That's the logic we're using here.
Yeah, that's a bit worrying to me.
You're not the only one who's concerned.
Coming from somebody who claims to be a feminist.
So you're saying that to be a feminist, women have to not want the things that women naturally want, which is to get married and have children. Got it. But just a little piece of advice. Taylor Swift isn't pushing people away from feminism or liberalism. It's liberal women like this with very unhinged takes.
In my opinion, the way you go from having a historic first week debut to a historic drop-off is you buy a couple million copies of the album yourself.
The Life of a Showgirl is one of Taylor Swift's most polarizing albums.
I don't like the new Taylor Swift album.
But I actually enjoyed yesterday's album, The Life of a Showgirl.
And it's also a really interesting cultural artifact for the Trump era. I'm the designated minivan driver for a family that includes 3 daughters, which means that I'm a long-time Taylor Swift listener and appreciator, at least by proxy. But I'm also a conservative dad, which means I'm not that appreciative of the new album's coarseness, which requires explaining to a car full of kids why we aren't going to be listening to the track called Wood, which is about the amazingness of her fiancé's reproductive organ.
Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my eyes.
But Life of a Showgirl isn't just coarse. It's also a little bit conservative. And I can't help seeing that combination, raunch with a touch of reaction, as holding up a really interesting mirror to right-wing culture in America right now. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that Taylor Swift, who undoubtedly cast her vote for Kamala Harris, has suddenly become a Republican. But I'm not the only one to notice the conservative turn. A number of Swift's progressive fans are really, really angry about the album's messaging.
It's missing a feminist anthem.
Taylor Swift is just coming out as MAGA with this new album.
Is Taylor Swift using her music to red pill you? In short, yes.
Consider Wish List, with its vision of suburban picket fence domestic bliss. Or Eldest Daughter, with its celebration of marital commitment.
But I'm never gonna break that vow.
Having these kind of conservative aspirations sharing an album with vulgarity and raunch is a little bit like the way the Republican coalition today includes not just the traditional religious right, but also barstool conservatives and Silicon Valley libertines. The Trump administration is staffed with evangelicals and Catholics, But the president himself is a much-married heathen with a porn star in his past. And the right now, seems both pro-marriage, pro-religion, very heteronormative, and also rude, profane, scatological, and a little bit sex-obsessed, trad and horny at the same time. And I'm really curious how long that combination can last. It might be that it's just a marriage of convenience between a bunch of different groups reacting against wokeness and progressivism, and that at a certain point, the libertarians and the traditionalists will go their separate ways. But it could also last a bit longer than that, because it is actually possible to have a society that's a little more traditionalist than the America of the last 20 years, but not nearly as puritanical as the America of the 1950s. So maybe conservatism and coarseness could actually coexist for a long time, like Taylor Swift singing about marriage and family and Travis Kelce's endowment. But even though I'm up to about 30 or 40 listens to the clean version of Life of a Showgirl in our minivan, I'm still not going to play Wood for my kids.
Taylor Swift's new album is so bad that people on Twitter are saying she has the first sexually transmitted case of CTE.
The rule of show business is, if it's the first week of my album release and you're saying my name or my album title, you're helping. That is not why people make art. Hi, I'm Annalise. I am a music journalist, and I have also been a Taylor Swift fan for 15 years. The Life of a Showgirl is objectively a bad album. An album is a narrative. It has a through line. It tells audiences a story in the same way an author of a novel does. The Life of a Showgirl has no through line. There is no clear narrative she's telling us on the project. Every song has its own narrative, but the album together does not make sense. She said she was putting out an album titled The Life of a Showgirl. We all pretty much assumed that it was going to be about her time on the Eras Tour and just being loved by audiences. One of the themes I've seen people say about the album is it's about Swift getting revenge and coming back, and I think that's kind of a tired storyline for her, quite frankly, and Reputation is my favorite album. But that was 10 years ago. A lot can change in a decade. Swift conveys human emotion and experiences at such a profound level that it resonates with such a diverse range of people. And that's why she has such a massive fan base. Taylor Swift is one of the most famous people in the world. So no one is going to relate to her 100%. But she's able to convey human emotion in such a way that people are so inclined to listen to her music and really relate to her. We can track this decline in Swift songwriting back to the Midnights era. Midnights is a mediocre album, especially by the standards I have for Taylor Swift. On Midnights, there's some songs with very literal and direct lyrics that made me, on the first listen, take a step back. And my pet peeve is when people say, oh, you just need to listen to an album a few times before you like it. No, you don't. You should like an album on the first go. You can argue that the Tortured Poets Department does have a clear narrative. And trust, I've crashed out over a situationship like the man you meet at 19, not the love of your life, okay? But Swift is known to tell a story much deeper than just a breakup. She talks about a breakup on Red, but it's more about the growing pains and situations that you're put in dealing with people much older than you with more life experiences talking down on you simply because you're younger. You don't get that from the Tortured Poets Department. There's nothing beyond the surface. And yes, there are good songs and poetic lyrics, but it still feels very surface level. And then she releases the anthology, and those additional tracks, which create a 31-track album, almost directly contradict what she put on the initial release of the Tortured Poets Department. You don't have to like it. Art is subjective, just like my critique of The Life of a Showgirl. If you like it, fine, but I think objectively and critically, you can pull apart the parts of an album that are weak. An album is almost entirely reliant on its sonic capabilities, because an album in music is about what you hear, not what you see. The only visual component of an album that really holds any weight is the cover art. And Taylor Swift released so many variations of the Life of a Showgirl cover before the album even came out. Sure, every cover has elements of showgirl stuff where she's dressed up in that kind of traditional Moulin Rouge outfit, or she's glammed up, has this kind of Marilyn Monroe aesthetic. But they all presented different historical eras, different moments in time, so it was hard for fans to grasp what story she was telling with all the variations of her album before any track had even dropped, because there was no lead single. At the end of the day, Swift has brought fans back year after year, decade after decade, because of her songwriting. The Life of a Showgirl really solidifies that Swift is changing her songwriting. It's very direct, it's very on the nose. Swift is known for her vivid imagery and her extended metaphors in her songs. even in her happy ones. If you look at other tracks like Paper Rings, Blank Space, or even Paris off of Midnights. Creative Writing 101, okay? I have a creative writing degree, and I know Taylor Swift loves to say that she is an English teacher, and she's earned that title to an extent. The first thing they teach you is that you need to show, not tell. And if you're going to tell me directly what I should take away from this piece of art in your words, you need to do it well. And a lot of artists are doing it well right now. We have Sabrina Carpenter, who does it really well. And we have people like The Dare doing it really well. He's got a whole album talking about New York nightlife. It's actually harder to be direct in your lyrics and make a good song and compelling narrative to draw fans in, which Swift, I think, is experiencing in real time. At the end of the day, Swift used to be this driving force in pop music. She was a pioneer of the industry and created the sound that we ultimately hear today. But now she's trying to follow what's popular. She's not leading the pack, she's following it. And she kind of feels like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It feels inauthentic to her brand, to her audience, and it's pushing people away instead of drawing them in. Those are my thoughts. If you want to hear me talk about more music, I have a podcast called On the Record. If you like what I was saying about music, you can follow me. It's kind of what I do.
If you still listen to Taylor Swift, here's your reason to stop. Life of a Showgirl is hands down her worst album that she's ever created. And if you're a parent who allows your child to listen to Taylor Swift, you might want to reconsider it after this. Taylor Swift is no longer the sweet little innocent girl that we all used to love whenever she sang songs like 15, Teardrops on My Guitar, or Tim McGraw, but she's gone full-blown demonic ever since Look What You Made Me Do came out. And many people blew it off, but if you still listen, you may want to stop now, because Life of a Showgirl has 8 out of 12 songs that are marked explicit. And she has lyrics that talks about selling her soul to the devil, offing a girl, and a few other disgusting lyrics that I won't say, but I'll put them up on the screen and block out the words for you. She even sings about Travis Kelce's redwood tree and saying she knows that she doesn't have to catch a bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way, if you know what I mean. She even has a diss track for Charlie XCX. And this album is filled with explicit sexual innuendos, undertones of selling your soul, and it's just all around awful. So stop listening to Taylor Swift and share this with a Swiftie.
The Life of a Showgirl is Taylor Swift's second worst album. She has officially missed twice in a row, right after dropping what I called her worst album ever, The Tortured Poets Department. And that's shocking. This is the same artist who gave us 1989, one of the best pop records of the 2010s. The same artist who wrote Red at 21 and Folklore just 5 years ago. How do you go from that to Tortured Poets and this? Showgirl is hardly an improvement from the painfully cringe writing on The Tortured Poets Department. I mean, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me still haunts me. But here we have songs like Father Figure, Wood, canceled. They're embarrassing. And I'm convinced the Sabrina Carpenter feature on the last track was completely pointless. Even the 2 songs I do like, the Fate of Ophelia and Opalite, they're just flashes of her pop brilliance. If the whole album hit that level, I would be celebrating, but instead, it's dragged down by mediocrity. And that's the tragic part. Taylor set her own bar sky high. She was 21 when she wrote All Too Well, and around 23 when she wrote Style. Those are timeless, but now, at almost 36, she's putting out mid-pop albums while also saying this is the record she's always wanted to make. If you truly care about your legacy, why release music that waters it down? It feels like way more effort went into the 500 vinyl variants and Showgirl aesthetic than the actual songs. Some of these beats sound like Taylor Swift type beats on YouTube. And for years, people blamed Jack Antonoff, who I've always defended, but he wasn't even involved here. Clearly, he was never the problem. Maybe Taylor's just gotten too safe. And now Taylor's even said she's taking a pause from touring after this era. Here's the thing, I get that music is subjective, but I can't see how even the most die-hard Taylor Swift fan could defend Showgirl as a valuable addition to her discography. At this point, it almost feels like denial. Bottom line, The Life of a Showgirl is right there with the Tortured Poets Department at the very bottom of her catalog. For me, it's a 4 out of 10, the same score I gave Tortured Poets, which is slightly worse, but they are back-to-back disasters. And for the biggest artist in the world, that's wild. Hands down, her second worst album. And honestly, if this is the direction Taylor's music is headed, maybe it's not just the touring that should be on pause. Let me know your thoughts on the album and hit me with a follow. Thanks.
Taylor, take a break and come back when you're ready to write, okay? No one's going to be mad at you for doing that. Taylor Swift is one of the most interesting people of our generation. She has probably lived one of the most interesting lives. She could probably create the most interesting narrative if she valued artistry over profit. Somewhere along billionaire status, she lost her ability to actually be vulnerable. Instead, she insists on making a false sense of vulnerability to relate to the world's 15-year-olds. You are not relatable. Allow the commonalities between you and normal people to feel like nice surprises rather than insisting that there's no difference between us. Let those moments where your relationship feels like my relationship, even though you're one of the most interesting people in the world and I am a normal person, let those feel profound and interesting and shocking. Don't shove it down my throat. Write about your authentic experience. You are keeping yourself out of greathood, out of the Hall of Fame of actual fantastic lyricists, because you insist on people putting slideshows to their high school prom to your songs with their football boyfriend. You already have 20 songs that do the trick for that. You already have 30 songs that do the trick for that. Those moments won't disappear just because you write something more. It made sense to make that music when you were a teenager. I love Taylor. I was so excited for this album. I literally stayed up. And I think the best part of the album is genuinely Sabrina Carpenter's verse. When the leaks happened, I was like, come on guys, this is obviously AI. This sounds like an AI song. This is not a song created by a human. And then I pressed play on the actual album and the Charlie song reinforced some of the worst critiques of Taylor that people have, which is that she likes to parade herself as like a big dog who stands up to bullies and whatnot, but only when it directly affects her and what that means in the grand scheme of things. We've given her a pass to victimize herself in every single situation as a 30-year-old woman because Kim Kardashian, someone whose cultural opinion means very little to most people anyway, someone who doesn't have a very good reputation, was mean to you once. And you liked that role a little too much. You liked turning your fans into pit bulls who have to defend you, despite the fact that everyone knows you don't need to be defended. It was bad. It was really bad. There were some good songs on Tortured Poets Department, but it feels like she ignored all of them and said, let's make 7 more high schools. And whoever the first Jan 6er is to post to canceled, please someone tag me in it. I just want to see.
Taylor Swift's new album is many things. Unfortunately, good is not one of them. I knew the album wasn't going to be good as soon as the title was revealed, but the promo pics made me curious, so I have listened to the album in full. And now, having listened to it, the album's problem is glaringly obvious. The problem is Taylor Swift is aging out of being a white girl. Before you scroll, let me cook. When Taylor was a teenager, she wanted to be a pop star, so her parents decided to take the country route. Keep in mind, this is the 2000s. Pop music was highly sexual, it was sleazy, and then you had things like bling rap. It's not a place for a little white girl. Country music, on the other hand, loves a little white girl, and she's blonde, they'll eat her up. So her family moved from Pennsylvania to Tennessee to launch her country career. That's why for the first several years of her career, she faked a southern accent. She was trying to fit in, seem authentic. Once the pop landscape started to change the late 2000s and early 2010s, that's when she started to transition to making pop music. And now to talk about white girls. White girls don't have sex. They don't know what that is. White girls they're cute, they're adorable, they're like dolls, they're precious, they have to be protected. Do you remember a couple months ago whenever parents would bring their kids to Sabrina Carpenter shows and then act aghast because Sabrina Carpenter, who is a highly sexual artist, was referencing sex on stage? Of course they were, because how could a short, cute little white girl who is also blonde, a blonde, cute little white girl, how could she possibly know what sex is? It's the assumption. A woman having sexual freedom and willingly engaging in sex is highly associated with blackness. You can see this most clearly when it comes to things like Disney and Nickelodeon stars. Miley Cyrus, she was Hannah Montana, all-American girl. And what does she do whenever she wanted to shed the Disney image and say, hey, I'm not just a little girl anymore? She releases Can't Be Tamed in bangers. Ariana Grande, another cute little white girl. What does she do whenever she wants to shed the childhood image? She releases Dangerous Woman in Sweetener. They would do things like hang out with rappers. They would incorporate black music styles into their own music. So that way, whenever they'd be sexual, it's like, oh, I'm not just a little white girl anymore. And over time, they would drift away from that because that wasn't who they authentically were. They were just using that as a way to escape the chains of being a white girl. Taylor Swift has never had to do that, and why would she? She makes being a white girl so fucking profitable. And the thing about Taylor Swift is that being a white girl is not just profitable for her, it's her entire brand. Because she's just like so awkward. And whenever she dances on stage, she's like bad because she's like awkward. And she loves like cats and baking and like hanging out with her fans. And she would likely continue with this forever, except for one small problem. Taylor Swift is 35 years old. And it's not like she's showing signs of aging or anything. But the brand of being a white girl is very much being a white girl. What happens in a few years whenever she's 40? What happens whenever she starts to get wrinkles? Once you're middle-aged, it's not cute anymore to be awkward. So she's aging out of being a white girl, but she doesn't have a brand or really even a sense of self outside of being a white girl. Also, low-key, this is the entire key to her relationship with Travis Kelce, which is not going to go well, but that's a story for another day. And keep in mind, the world has been moving on. An artist like Sabrina Carpenter could not exist 10 years ago. There was nowhere in the pop landscape for her. For like a cute little white girl who's that sexual. It didn't exist. And then on top of that, things have been rapidly changing politically. So people want different things from women now. And The Life of a Showgirl is a testament to Taylor's inability to rise to the occasion. Like on the song Wish List. Oh, everybody wants bright lights and designer things, and they want like a fat ass. But me, then we get to the chorus, but me, I just want to have all of your kids. I want to have all of your kids, and then I want to live in a house, and I want the driveway to have a basketball hoop in it for our kids. And Taylor's personal struggle between her being her own woman and her being a cute little white girl is really embodied by the song Wood. It's called Wood because it's in reference to Travis Kelce's, that. But the song isn't sexual at all, because the song isn't about sex. It's about a woman justifying the fact that she has sex. The song starts with her picking petals off of a daisy. Oh, he loves me not. Taylor portrays herself as being super insecure until Travis Kelce digmatizes her and opens up her eyes. And keep in mind, white girls cannot be sexual beings. It's not that she has sexual feelings, it's that a man came along and unlocked it in her. The curse was lifted. You see, you guys, it's not about sex at all. It's about love. His love was the key that opened my thighs. I don't have sexual feelings. I'm just a little white girl. Because this album is supposed to be her embodying her sexual energy, thus, Life of a Showgirl. But Taylor either feels unable or isn't willing or whatever it is you want it to be. Taylor doesn't actually embody it. She doesn't explore it because the embodiment of her sexual energy would come at the expense of the brand of Taylor Swift. It's seemingly not compatible, or at least she thinks or her team thinks that it's not compatible. So she has to be her own fully embodied grown woman in order to keep up with the times, but she also has to be like a cute little white girl in order to keep up with the brand of Taylor Swift. And in trying to do both, she successfully does nothing. I would be really curious to know if the album was even her idea, especially since so many of the songs sound like rejected tracks off of some of her old albums. Also, how are you gonna have an album called Life of a Showgirl and yet not a single fucking song on the album has a brass section? Showgirl music is big band, it's blaring horns, it's a hell of a lot of fun, and it just did not exist on this album. Not to mention, none of the songs actually have anything to do with being a showgirl, and really not even the song The Life of a Showgirl. Like, she could have just used the word follies once, and I would have been satisfied. But discussing why the music isn't good sonically is not really the purpose of this video. If you have any questions or you disagree with me, please let me know. I love thinking about white women, and Taylor Swift is just, she's the embodiment of it. She really is.
Now, guys, a lot of black folks and people that don't listen to Taylor Swift, when it comes to Taylor Swift drama,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
But when tea is being served, we want to know what's up. We want to know. We got time. So get your tea and go get your snacks. Because you already know this is about to be good. No, on God. Okay, one thing you guys got to understand, context. The Swifties are like a cult fan base. Now, if you pay attention to how they look, it obviously resembles the image of Taylor. Now, if y'all don't remember that song, You Belong With Me, she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. Her image is like a nerdy, cutesy, awkward, white girl, blonde hair, Christian. She didn't sing about being promiscuous. So she's been selling this image of the standard ideal white girl. Now the thing is, Taylor isn't a little girl no more. She's 35. And times have changed. Now, shout out to this girl. Oh, damn, I got her. But yeah, shout out to this girl because she made some good points. Remember Disney Channel? Miley Cyrus. She had to be this pure, innocent white girl. And y'all already know how Disney celebrities, when they grow older, fans start to get really upset when they start to sexualize themselves. But they don't realize, hey, they're not a kid anymore. And you guys would watch Miley Cyrus try to break out of that. And then you started seeing her around black music celebrities, which you guys already know. Hip-hop has a lot of sexualized content, you know. So this is their way to be like, I'm not just a little white girl. Second example, Ariana Grande. Same thing, pure, white, blah, 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 blah. Then all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden she's a black girl, a light skin. It's obviously not wanting to be just a white girl anymore. This is ridiculous. Now, Taylor hasn't had to do that. She's still been the same cutesy, awkward, innocent white girl. And it's been working. But see, times are changing, guys. Like, people want different things now. We got Sabrina Carpenter now. And her music focuses on personal experiences and female sexuality. If you listen to Taylor Swift's Life of a Showgirl, when you hear the lyrics, it sounds like the struggle that Taylor Swift is having to get with the times. Okay, so now you're where I'm at. And I'm seeing fans talk about the album.
People are like, the new Taylor Swift album is so bad. The new Taylor Swift album is so bad. And it is so bad that the first time I heard one of the songs, I thought that it was somebody's AI parody of it, but it's not. That's real.
Okay, guys, hate to disappoint you, but I hate this album. First listen, and I don't think there's ever been a Taylor Swift album that I don't like any of the songs. And I'm really upset about that because this album literally did nothing for me.
Now, if you got this far, nice, because everything I say after this is going to make sense. Now, let's look at some of these lyrics. This is the one that's ripping everybody up. And she sings it like this. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage. This line right here had everybody like, what the hell is going on? Bad? A savage? What? What? This even had black folks like, who is she talking about? Is she talking about us? Now look at this. This is going around. Taylor Swift's song, Opalite, and how she is jealous and insecure that before her, Travis Kelce has only dated black women. I'm like, So y'all know she dates Travis Kelce, the football player, which is very interesting. Because wasn't this song about her wanting to be with this football player? Anyway, this is his ex, Kayla Nicole. Which, if this is what Taylor's talking about, I don't know why she... Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Okay, you got a problem here. So this song's called Eldest Daughter. Let me look at these lyrics. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everybody's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. She did not say this in the song. Sad as it seems, apathy is hot. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. I have been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool. But I'm not a bad and this isn't savage. I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never gonna break that vow. I'm never gonna leave you now. Okay, I see. I see how they got the like, Taylor Swift might be insecure about his ex. She's basically saying, I'm not like the girls you've dated before, but I love you and I'm still good enough. I actually really love you. Okay. Now, that was from a different song. She mentions a song called Opalite. So let's look at these lyrics. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brothers used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. Which, she has a lot of exes. But the part they're picking at is right here. But mama told me it's alright, you were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleeping in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. People are saying this is about Travis. Onyx is a black rock. Opalite is like a white rainbow rock. This could be seen as dark night and rainbow skies, but other people are taking it as, you were with a black girl, now you're with me, a white girl. I'm like, okay. Now, what didn't help is this part right here. You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone. and you were just a pose. And guys, it's based off of this clip.
Sometimes someone would pay me attention. I wouldn't have to go on social media. I wouldn't have to get on social media and seek validation from a bunch of strangers on the internet.
And in this clip, you hear Kelsey calling her a loser for being in her phone again.
Oh, this boy, the way. Loser! Look at me. Yo. Obsessed. Obsessed with yourself.
I don't know what I'm watching. Either one, Kayla really be obsessed with herself. Or two, I don't know, they be getting drunk and Kelsey really don't be paying attention to her. So she acts up on the internet. But now I can see why people thought that. I looked at some of her exes. Calvin Harris, he's now with the black girl. Tom Hiddleston. Oh, she dated Loki? What the... Oh, damn, now he's with a black girl? I just saw Travis's exes. Maya Benberry. Of course, Kayla Nicole. Zuri Hall. Now, here's the thing. Women be knowing this. If you look at your man's past, what he's liking on Instagram, maybe his corn history, who he's dated, it does look like he's into the black women. Now I can see why people are saying this. It still might not be true, but it's just... Now guys, people are making posts like this. I need you to see this. Oh my god. Guys, you can't make this. This is crazy. This girl, you know, she actually sounded good as hell. Wow. This is unironically more listenable than her actual music. Oh my god. We owe Kanye an apology. Because they're talking about this.
Chance to win a VMA award. Yo, Taylor. I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Kanye is so crazy with this shit. He was not playing. The tone, the rasp, the grit. Drop the single. I was not expecting this song to go so hard. It was hard. It was hard. Now, guys, this is not over yet. There's this guy named Jared Jermaine. And he shows that what people have been noticing is that Taylor Swift's album has been sounding like other people's songs. Either pause it as I introduce it, or go see this video yourself, or take my word for it. The song Taylor Swift featuring Sabrina Carpenter, The Life of a Showgirl, sounds just like Jonas Brothers' Cool. Taylor Swift Actual Romantic sounds like Pixies' Where's My Mind. Bro, I swear when I heard this, I was like, Taylor Swift Wood sounds like the Jackson 5 I Want You Back. I swear to God. Oh my God. Taylor Swift Opalite sounds like the Ronettes Be My Baby. Taylor Swift Ruined Their Friendship sounds like Sophia the First Princess Things. And Opalite sounds like Luis Miguel 1 + 1 = 2. Bro, when y'all hear this, go look at it. You gonna tweet. Now guys, I will say this, right? I went to college for music production. When it comes to songs sounding familiar, right? There's only so many chords that you can use. And if you ever seen this video, this guy uses the same 4 chords and it showed multiple popular songs were sang in that same progression. With so many songs being released every day, it's not surprising that we're hearing similar songs. Look at these comments. I hope Olivia Rodrigo is having a great week. I heard that Jackson 5 immediately. Bro, what crazy? You got Michael Jackson, yo. The life of a copycat. Oh my god. She sued Olivia for less. Now, if you don't know Olivia Rodrigo, she has a song that goes like, and I just can't imagine how you just can be okay now that I'm gone. Something like that. Taylor Swift and her used to be friends, but I guess there's a beef now, which is what rumors were saying, but apparently there's no beef. Basically, there was a song that was dropped called Deja Vu, and after fans noticed that it sounded like Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer, she gave Taylor Swift writing credits, which is after Rodrigo did an interview saying that she was inspired by Taylor. Now, I looked online, it doesn't say that she was sued, just the credit part was true. As you can see, Taylor Swift supposedly gave her that ring right there, but after that song, supposedly they have not been close.
Taylor Swift has been a mean girl for the past few years, and it's kind of interesting that people are only just now realizing that she's become the girl that she used to sing about. I blatantly started noticing it whenever you'll notice that in 2021, 2022, whenever Olivia Rodrigo first blew up, she used to love Taylor Swift. She would always talk about her main inspiration, yada yada. But then you'll notice after she blatantly said Deja Vu took inspiration from Cruel Summer in the bridge, suddenly Taylor's team forced her to credit Cruel Summer on Deja Vu. After that, Olivia Rodrigo never publicly mentioned Taylor Swift again.
Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of Swifties are still happy with the album.
This is us before listening to The Life of a Showgirl. This is us after listening to The Life of a Showgirl. Taylor, that was naughty.
As you can see, there still are fans calling it the album of the year. You know? Some Swifties are saying that people are hating for no reason.
Actually, all of you. I had to unfollow five plus of my favorite creators because they all want to come out and hate on Taylor Swift for fucking existing. Everybody's a feminist until it's about Taylor Swift. Go to hell. I'm tired of girls getting hate for being Swifties. We're allowed to like music like anybody else is allowed to like music. We're allowed to be fans like anyone else is allowed to be fans. And I think it's an extremely cheap shot to try and get some clout for making fun of Swifties or Taylor Swift when you didn't even listen to the fucking album. And I better not see your bitch ass posting at her next tour for more
Which, by the way, everything that I've shown, when it comes to hate on the internet, people do like to bandwagon. It's just weird. They do it for clout. So, like, everything I've shown you doesn't mean that everyone dislikes the album, bro.
She is so a genius. She is a smart person. Yeah. Like, what if she just knows it's bad? She wants to flop it so she can, or she wants to flop so she can have privacy with Travis. So they can also how can you drag your name like this? Her legacy that she's fought so hard. Your legacy is literally going to crumble.
Now, guys, I've heard some of this album. What I'm thinking is this. Because it wasn't bad. It wasn't musically bad. It's cool. It's Taylor Swift. It's cool. I think that what it is that Taylor Swift's fans are getting older and some of them don't relate to it anymore. Which anyone that's a music artist, and I'm a music artist too, no matter what you do, when you drop that new album, the old fans gonna have a problem with it. This has been a common case in rock bands. I don't know, but I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. Blank Space was mush. Now, Rolling Stone gave Life of a Showgirl a perfect rating of 100. This has caused controversy because, as I've shown you, it seems like it's mixed reviews. Now, I guess Taylor Swift responded to all the hate. Maybe it's not to the hate.
The rule of show business is if it's the first week of my album release and you are saying either my name or my album title, you're helping. And art, I have a lot of respect for people's subjective opinions on art. I'm not the art police. It's like everybody is allowed to feel exactly how they want. And what our goal is as entertainers is to be a mirror. Oftentimes an album is a really, really wild way to look at yourself, right? What you're going through in your life is going to affect whether you relate to the music that I'm putting out at any given moment. And what I often love seeing my fans say is, I used to be someone who didn't like relate to Reputation, and now that I've been through some other things in my life, that's my favorite album. Or I used to be a like fearless girly, now I'm obsessed with Evermore. Like, and we're doing this thing for keeps. Like, I have such an eye on legacy when I'm making my music. I know what I made. I know I adore it. And I know that, like, on the theme of what the showgirl is, all of this is part of it.
Now, the comments aren't, look at them. Life of a filler girl. Republican makeup, oh my god. She radiates anger in such a weird way, dude. Oh, so she knows we hate it. Oh my god. Oh, she's bothered, alright. She became everything we raged against. So as I say, guys, listen. We don't even know that's a Swiftie. I swear, people be just saying stuff. Her smugness is not cute. Girl, we just don't like it. I'm not angry. Oh my god. All I can say is that an album can be good for some and not good for others, alright? But there you go. Now you know the whole situation. Guys, as I always say, what do you think about this?
Like, y'all know I'm a diehard Swiftie. I would go to fucking war for her and have for years. But this album just feels so lazy. Their songs are good, they're fine, whatever, but like when we think of like any of her other albums, Midnights, Reputation, 1989, any of her other pop albums, what the F is this? No shade. Why is she not even singing? She's just kind of mewing. And then like, I'm really trying to like it. I'm trying to give it more time, but like, girl, I'm actually at a loss. I feel like I feel defeated. I feel defeated in a way. The Fate of Ophelia is good. Like, there's good moments, but like, I'm not gagged by any of them by any means. And that's, like, I'm low-key actually disappointed. Please release the Rep Vault tracks. Taylor, please. It's an emergency. Oh my god. Oh. I mean, you win some, you lose some, right? You can't be perfect all the time. But what's the point of me lying? I'm a Swiftie, I love her, whatever, but what's the point of me coming on here and being like, yes, I love it? Because I guess I don't. But, of course, I'm gonna continue to listen. Maybe I need more time, but it's not really clicking for Grant right now. What the F?
This is part 2 on why, as a diehard Swiftie, I don't know what to make of this album, and I don't know where I stand in terms of how I move forward as a Swiftie. In part 1, I talked about how my love for Taylor has manifested in so many ways. I have literally grown up with this woman as the narrator in my head, and I have genuinely, I can say this with full confidence, I have loved every single thing that she has put out up until this point. However, with the release of The Life of a Showgirl, it goes so much deeper than me just not liking the album. It's me realizing that I don't recognize the person who put out this album, and I don't think I like that person. But let's keep going because I have a lot to talk about. So let's talk about the commercial success of this album. Taylor is now a billionaire, and that fact alone just changes the dynamic between her and her fans. There's no avoiding it. Being a billionaire means profiting off of systems that exploit people, oftentimes the very fans who've idolized you since the beginning. Listen, I have never been a big merch person, but seeing the rollout for this album of deluxe vinyls and limited edition this and even just like the movie theater releases, where it just ended up being a bunch of lyric videos that I could have watched on YouTube. All of it just makes me, squirm a little bit. What used to feel like a celebration of her artistry now feels like some sort of loyalty test, a way to see how much her most devoted fans are willing to spend in the name of devotion. And there's something so deeply ironic about that because historically, Taylor has always positioned herself as the underdog, the girl who fought the industry, who demanded to own her masters, who wrote songs about the dehumanizing nature of fame. But this rollout felt so incredibly corporate. And not to mention releasing It's Actually Romantic on October 3rd, which happens to be Mean Girls Day. I just don't know who this person is. All right, apologies. I'm going to look down at my notes for a second, but here's where things get meta. A TikTok creator named Jane Kelly said that The Life of a Showgirl might be Taylor's play within a play, like in Hamlet, where the performance inside the play reveals the truth underneath it. Maybe that's what Taylor was trying to do here. Step into a stage within a stage and play a new role and see how we'd react. If that was her goal, then as a concept, that's brilliant. However, execution-wise, I think she missed the mark. To be honest, the whole album feels like she's trying on a costume that just doesn't quite fit. I actually felt very similar feelings when she released Reputation, because it felt like she was trying to convey herself as this very edgy, bad girl, when those of us who have grown up with Taylor know that that's just not who she is. The whole album felt like it was being released from a place of vengefulness and anger, and I just could tell that that was not authentic to who she was. And truthfully, that's exactly how I feel about The Life of a Showgirl. It's as if she's trying on this persona that's, sexy and silly. But I'm just not buying it. I feel like she is in a lot of ways trying to emulate Sabrina Carpenter. And it's just not authentic to who we know Taylor to be. In my opinion, I've always felt as though Taylor's power comes from dropping the act, from letting us in on the joke, from letting us see the cracks. This sexy, cheeky persona feels more like a costume than an evolution, as if she's trying to keep up with the new generation of pop stars, Sabrina Carpenter specifically, rather than continuing to define her own lane. This is not me saying that she can't make sexy songs. We have seen her make incredibly lustful and sultry songs before. Just think of Dress or Guilty as Sin. But Wood? Wood felt so wildly out of character and frankly was just disgusting. To bring it back to the play within a play concept, I don't fault her for experimenting. I actually think that as a concept, it was a really brilliant idea if that's what she was going for. I just think that the execution maybe missed the mark. I'm going to wrap up my thought piece here by saying that, at this stage in Taylor's career, she doesn't owe us anything. She also doesn't need to prove anything. She's reached a level of success that so few artists will ever reach. At this point, she could probably release Silence, Dead Air, and it would still debut at #1. Maybe The Life of a Showgirl was never meant to please us. Maybe it was her experiment, her satire, her attempt to reclaim her image by exaggerating it. But for those of us who've been here since the beginning, who've always felt understood by her words, this album feels like standing in a familiar room that's been redecorated beyond recognition. The walls are the same, but the warmth is just gone. What's making it really hard for me is that it's not just that the music changed, it's that my relationship to her has also changed. As I say in my essay, for years she's invited us to decode her world, to read between the lines, to see ourselves reflected in her stories. And now it feels like she's pulled that curtain shut, leaving the fans outside still searching for meaning in the dark. So yeah, maybe this is just what growing apart looks like. Not from a place of anger, but from a place of disillusionment. I will always be grateful for the music that Taylor has given me up until this point, but one thing has been made very clear with The Life of a Showgirl, and that's that the story that she's telling is no longer mine anymore. But still, even as I come to terms with that fact, there's a small part of me that wishes, perhaps foolishly, that, the storyteller that I have known and loved will reemerge at some point. Thanks for listening to me yap, and if you like this, then you should check out the Substack that I wrote in my bio.
The worst part about this absolutely horrific Taylor Swift album is that all of the millennial MAGA women are going to absolutely eat it up and be like, Oh my God, this is so real. She used just the perfect mix of vocabulary to where I almost understand it. Thank God she didn't fucking use any big words this time. Also, the song Canceled is just so me. Like, that's actually me and my entire family, because so many people have cut me off because I'm a racist. This is just so relatable. Like,
hey, so we've been trying to tell y'all since 2006 that she sucks. The best thing that Taylor Swift has done is come out with this album so you can finally hear what has been torturing us for 20 years. The voice, the lyrics, everything about it is so bad. She is trying so hard at 35 years old to be another Sabrina Carpenter. Girl, you're not her. This isn't it. This flopped. Taylor Swift and the word sexy will never be in the same sentence. Taylor, girl, you're the only one in a relationship with Travis Kelce. We do not care. We do not care what his parts are like, okay? Nobody likes them like that, okay? Stop that. It's gross. It's literally like you took your journal and was like, yes, I'm just going to sing all the words from my journal and put it on an album. Everybody's going to love me because I'm Taylor Swift. No, we don't. No, we don't, babes. So, Swifties, welcome to reality. This is what we've heard for 20 years.
I am not surprised that that album was a flop, and I am not surprised that her fans are waking up. Think about it. This is a woman whose image and personality has been meticulously curated for 15 plus years. And no matter how good or bad her lyricism is or was, the truth is the depth of her art has always been shallow. This is the year. If you have something to say, if you are an artist who has a perspective, this is the time to share it. Her perspective on the album is showing. It's more me. No mentioning of what's going on with everything in the country and the regime that is in charge. Nothing about ICE going into these cities, abducting her fans who spend money on her music. Nothing about the little kids over in Palestine who are getting bombed out. Nothing to say about Trump directly. This would be her opportunity to do it, but she didn't. Why? Because she is a billionaire. And what you are seeing is the brand being exposed. For you Swifties out there, I hope you see that this is a one-sided relationship. You give to her, and she gives nothing back to you.
Congratulations, Taylor haters. This is the one we've been training for. This is the one we've been training for. This album and this moment has been remarkable, derogatory to watch for 3 reasons, in my opinion. 1, she has in one fell swoop completely dismantled the mythos that has put her where she is. 2, she has proven my personal unified theory of Taylor Swift, which I'll get to in a moment. And 3, astrology predicted all of this. So this is not going to be a short video, strap in. I'm going to start with an analogy. When I was in 10th grade, my mom went to parent-teacher conferences, and my English teacher told her, "Your son is one of the best writers I've ever had in 30 years of teaching." And my mom was like, "Oh, wow." She said, "But he has nothing to say. And the reason he has nothing to say is I think he's not even reading the books. But he's had me fooled because he's so good at technique. But I want you to let him know that I'm onto him, the jig is up, and I will not be giving him any more A's until he can learn how to actually say something in these beautiful essays he's writing." And my mom came home and told me this, and I was like, curses, foiled again, right? Because that's exactly what I had been doing. I had her in 9th grade, and I learned what she liked, and I just churned it out and replicated it. Give the people what they want. And that is who this person is. And that's who she's always been. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's who she is. She has an amazing acumen for the fundamentals of pop music. She's a great producer, a great pop vocalist. She understands the basic grammar of creating a big arena spectacle, and she's a wonderful writer. Her command of wordplay and rhyme and meter and rhythm is really impressive. But there's no there. She has nothing to say except to talk about her ego and her teen angst poetry about boys. And before you call me a sexist, I basically only listen to female artists and only to pop music because I do not respond to most men's artistic work because I usually feel like they have never known a day of struggle in their lives and have nothing to say. And if they have had a day of struggle, they blame it on someone else. And I don't find that compelling. So that's not what this is about. What this is about is she has nothing to say. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just being good at what you do. But she would have you believe that she is the second coming of Joni Mitchell or Carole King. And there's no there. And the way she has bridged that gap is, one, by being really skilled at making pop bops, Shake It Off and stuff like that. She's really good at that stuff. But for the rest, she has figured out who her target demo is. And she has created what I would call a simulacrum of connection with them, where you feel like she understands you and you understand her, and it feels very connective and cathartic, and you feel seen and heard in a way that you probably don't with other artists. And it's been very effective and lucrative for her, which is what makes this new album so unbelievably strange. Because there is not a single excerpt I've heard so far that pertains to anything that has anything to do with a normal person's life. It is all about being rich, famous, in a power couple, or grievances about being rich, famous, in a power couple. Comparing yourself to Elizabeth Taylor when most of your fans don't have a job and the country's falling down around them is a very strange choice when your entire thing is built on, see, we're just girls. We're just girls together. Putting out a song called Cancelled 2 weeks after a bunch of people just lost their jobs for having an opinion on a crime that occurred is a weird choice. And an even weirder choice is first of all, she's never been canceled. She's been criticized. She's never been canceled. But even weirder is doing that at this time when that term has become almost exclusively associated with right-wing grievance for being criticized for aligning themselves with the current regime that has what, like a 35% approval rating? These are bizarre choices when the whole thing that underpins your thing is making your fans feel like you're one of them. Very strange. Very strange. But it goes one step further, because even as much as I have never liked this person's work, I have always said the one thing you cannot take from her is she is an excellent writer. This time around, these lyrics are, wow. Are they bad? And at times illiterate. The fate of Ophelia, she drowned herself from grief over death and violence, not because she hadn't been dicked down enough. Like, did you read the play? It's weird. Construing Sympathy as a Knife as a diss track against Taylor Swift is the most illiterate reading of those lyrics I can think of. Like, it's just like, the writing's bad, but also like kind of dumb. Like, it's just wild. And what has been fascinating is watching even some of her most vociferous defenders come online and be like, this album's ass, what happened? And I don't think that's coincidental. It's very much like how a certain funeral a couple weeks ago cracked open the brains of a lot of Red Hat people. This album has cracked open the brains of a lot of her fans. And this is where the astrology comes in. Because this was all foretold by the prophecy. Pluto moved into Aquarius in November, December. And Pluto's transits are about 20 years. I don't remember the actual number. I think it's like 18 or something. But Pluto is about the underworld. So both in terms of the underbelly and the structures underneath things, right? And Capricorn is all about work, 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 money, 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 money. And so we went through a 20-year period where everything was about the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, screw you, get mine, money, 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 right? And then in November, Pluto moved into Aquarius, which is about humanitarianism and togetherness and equality and meeting people's needs. And that's a marked shift, which if you believe in astrology is why everything that's happening right now is happening. Because to get from point A of Pluto in Capricorn to point B of Pluto in Aquarius, a whole lot of stuff has to be dismantled, which is also what Pluto is, the destroyer. All of that to say, I don't think it's coincidental that much like Dear Leader, this person rose to the billionaire class during the 20 years of money, 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 work, 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 money, money. And now that we're all fed up and in a completely different mindset, the wool is being pulled off people's eyes. I mean, there's just as many other ways to explain this that have nothing to do with astrology if you think that's nonsense. The simplest one is she's been a billionaire for too long, and when you live in that kind of rarefied air, you lose connection with reality. And that's what happens to all of them. So there's that explanation too that's maybe simpler. Either way, I think this is fascinating. And not to be arrogant, but as I get older, I have noticed a recurring theme in my own life, which is that I'm often early but rarely wrong. People will tell me I'm full of it or crazy, and then a month, a year, 5 years goes by, and they're like, you were right. You tried to tell me you were right. And I have been saying this about this person for 10 years, and I feel very vindicated. So, RIP my mentions, because I'm sure her fans are going to go crazy. Although most of what I make gets suppressed anyway, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But anyway, enjoy your little album about Travis Kelce's dick or whatever. Bye.
If you listen to the new Taylor Swift album with your ears, I think you're going to be happy. But if you listen with your brain, I think you're going to be confused. These are my initial reactions to The Life of a Showgirl, and I've only listened to it once. But I think Dr. Taylor Allison Swift forgot she knows how to write, because lyrically this album was a major flop for me. Disclaimer, I'm a nobody. I love Taylor Swift. I've loved her since I was in 5th grade, listening to her in indoor recess, listening to Teardrops on My Guitar. That said, she's very much open to criticism, and she's a lot of music that I think she could work on, and I think this album wraps into that. My first takeaway: has Taylor Swift ever met a showgirl? Where was the showgirl music? Where was the big brassy orchestra or jazzy swing kind of vibe? That was not there for me. Second, Opalite is a certified bop. I can't wait to listen to that one again. That one is super fun. Third, Taylor, Read the Room. Actually, Romantic is not the serve you think it is. Your Charlie XCX diss track. It seems like she's responding to Charlie's song Sympathy is a Knife, where Charlie has that line, I don't want to see you backstage at my boyfriend's show. And Taylor responds being well, actually, if you're thinking about me, that means you're obsessed with me. And that's so romantic. It's giving when your bully's you're stupid, and you respond, I know you are, but what am I? That was absolutely the vibe. And what a miss, because the Charlie song Sympathy is a Knife is so interesting and complex, and talks about how you've put all your projections on this person you want to be and you can't be, so your anxiety spiraling. There are lines that literally say, I want to buy a gun, I want to shoot myself. Taylor, you cannot play here. And then songs Canceled, oh my god, so stupid. Again, Little Miss Victim complex. And again, I love Taylor, but Taylor can also do bad things. She's still up for criticism. And that song, she cannot get over herself as someone who has been canceled, someone who is not beloved by the public. And she's I love to hang out with my friends who have scandals. Okay, that is not the serve you think it is. There are real criminals. Next thought, eldest daughter, Taylor, get off the internet. You should not be allowed to talk to anybody about the internet. It's giving boomer. It's giving millennial, but worse, because I like millennials. I thought Life of a Showgirl is a really fun song. Sabrina ate her up. When she came on the verse, Sabrina is able to do this thing where she's cheeky, and when she sings the lyrics, it feels silly. But when Taylor does it, it falls flat. It's kind of bland. It seems disingenuous. She's not able to strike that silly, very light tone that Sabrina does. Sonically, really fun. This whole album is super poppy, lots of bops. Again, I'll probably turn this on because I love easy listening, but I wanted more of Midnights mixed with Folklore Evermore. So those are my thoughts.
The Life of a Showgirl is Taylor Swift's worst album. Let's talk about why. I didn't even really want to make this video because Swifties tend to react really negatively to criticism that's not positive of Taylor. But as a Swiftie who was quite excited for this album, I feel I do have things to say about it, as does the entire internet, of course. I think my biggest issue with this album was how uninspired it felt. And I don't even think that it's 100% Taylor that feels uninspired. The production just feels so lackluster. Even the songs that I see people calling highlights, like Opalite, Fate of Ophelia, there's nothing there. The production is so bare bones and
just doesn't sound like anything that hasn't been done before. And it's hard to imagine a world where people care about this album if you take Taylor's name away from it. I didn't go in listening to this album wanting to dislike it. I actually went into listening to it really wanting to like it. I think the concept that they marketed was really interesting. I think her return to working with Max Martin and Shellback was really promising. Ultimately, what it boils down to for me isn't even that like the lyrics are cringy. The music itself is just nothing. One thing I've always loved about Taylor is that every one of her albums, she reinvents herself. She explores a new sound, she explores new topics. This album is just stripping away the sound that she had and just replacing it with generic mainstream pop. But not even good generic mainstream pop. It reads very cash grabby, it reads like it was made in a few days. There's nothing about this album that really makes me want to go back and listen again. And after listening to it, I genuinely just felt curious to how Taylor actually feels about this. Is she advertising that she loves it and she's super proud of it because she wants it to sell more, or does she actually feel that way? And if she actually feels that way, is that just telling of how out of touch she is? I have so many opinions on this, I could probably rant about it for hours. But the last thing I want to say is that streaming numbers and album sales don't equate to good music. I saw someone on here say, well, if the music was bad, the streaming numbers wouldn't be that high. And I completely disagree with that. Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists in the world. Even people who are haters of her tune into her releases because they're curious what it's going to sound like. They want to latch onto something to hate to. And all of those things equal streams. There's countless people in my life who don't even like Taylor Swift who would actually consider themselves Taylor Swift haters that tuned into the album. And that's what happens when you're the biggest artist in the world. People will listen to your music whether they like you or not. I don't think this music will stand the test of time, and I don't think the fact that it's breaking all of these Spotify streaming records equates to people actually liking it. Even myself, I didn't like it. I've listened to it more than once. And I think a lot of people are in a similar boat as me as well, where they didn't like it either, but they're trying to give it another chance. Anyways, let me know what you think of The Life of a Showgirl in the comments.
The Life of a Showgirl is Taylor Swift's worst album, and that's okay. I've listened to the album a few times. I didn't want to do an instant reaction after listening just once, but I have a lot of thoughts about how we've ended up at the position where I feel like Taylor Swift has released the most soulless music of her career. But I feel like we've been headed to this point where Taylor was going to release something of this level of quality for a while. I found it frustrating over the last few years that pretty much anything she does gets labelled the greatest thing ever. And this is by critics, 5-star reviews of albums, endless think pieces online that come across more as PR than they do criticism or just an understanding of where music sits and what it's trying to do. Because Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists in the world, deservedly so. She has released and created music that will stand the test of time and has been. There's a reason why the Eras Tour was able to be so ridiculously massive. There's a reason why that's one of the best shows I've ever seen. As a fan for so many years, seeing these songs come to life again and seeing new people discover these songs will always be timeless classics now. I can't understand how the same person who wrote and developed and really crafted that music feels like this is an acceptable level of quality of music to be putting out. And I sort of lay the blame on the people praising those moments. The biggest problem this album has is in the lyrics. There's been clunky lyrics on past Taylor Swift albums. The Charlie Puth lyric on Tortured Poets Department is an obvious example. This is an album of those lyrics. This is an album of lyrics as clunky and as poorly written and poorly delivered as that lyric. It's just constantly throughout every single song. And anytime anyone would criticize those moments, it would be, Taylor Swift is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. She knows exactly what she's doing. We have to trust her process. But I can't trust the process of someone that can deliver songs like All Too Well, or can deliver half of the songs that were on the Tortured Poets Department album, and then think that the songwriting on this album is acceptable. It screams of this will do. She's never released anything that I've felt like we're putting out a product rather than music. That's the second part to all of this, where the roll up to this album, I feel like, has been so telling of where her head is and where the team's head is. This feels like a transaction, not an album. And none of her music has ever felt like that. I've defended Taylor Swift so many times for releasing great albums. I've always loved her records. They've always ended up on my favorites of the year. I can't get excited by a countdown to another product being released. Endless countdowns in the lead up to an album where the focus is on selling you more stuff. There's no faith in the music itself. Where is the focus on the music? As an album, the music is the most important thing. And everything surrounding this. The video of Taylor talking about the vinyl packaging and how luxe it is was so strange. This is a creative person who's just come off all-time biggest tour ever, where the reason that tour worked was the songs. The reason is those lyrics. The reason is those songwriting and her delivering that, and hundreds of thousands of millions of people singing along with those songs. If she had included a single one of these songs, I would be embarrassed. It would not have fit with a single one of those other songs. And saying that this album is anywhere near the same quality, I feel like is an insult to Taylor Swift. It would actually feel insulting to me if someone said that any of this was representative of what her music sounds like. And that's why I'm so confused, because I don't understand how anyone got to the point of releasing this and saying, this is the album, we're really happy with it, it's exactly what we wanted to do. I don't believe that they're the same people that have delivered those other albums. Is there a couple of songs that I can see myself maybe enjoying a bit more as time goes on? Yeah, I kind of liked Ruin the Friendship, sort of liked the Sabrina Carpenter song at the end, and Opalite is probably the only moment that I feel like was a bit of a standout. Outside of that, it's just everything that people complain about Taylor Swift, like, defined in an album. She's managed to sum up every criticism that's ever gone into anything about her music and just do that and forget all of the positive things that people have ever said about her. I don't really get where that's coming from. The lyricism on Actually Romantic is so clunky. It lacks any sort of nuance or personality and feels completely disingenuous. I struggle to believe anything that is going into any of this music, which then makes it feel even more like a product. Like a Q4 target needed to be met, so they had to get something out to replace Reputation Taylor's version. That's what this ends up feeling like, which as a fan, I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to feel like I've got caught up in the hype, bought an album that I wouldn't have bought. I don't think I would have bought this album. It's definitely not a great album, and to me is the most soulless music she's ever made. The reason that I get so critical about my favorite artists is because they can do better. Why would you release bad music if you are an incredibly talented artist? Why would you release music this soulless, absent of anything to grab onto, anything to really get behind, and anything that's going to last longer than this week, just so that you can get another million-selling album? Flog hundreds of thousands of vinyl records to people who haven't even heard the music yet. The only hope is that the last time I felt like this was when she released Lover, and she then had a complete reset with Folklore. Why she hasn't just took a year off, why she hasn't just done nothing and gone and lived her life and had a great time and come back better than ever, I will never understand, but hopefully we can get another reset. Hopefully we can get her interested in the music again. I don't feel like she has any interest in anything she's put into this record. And I know I definitely don't as a fan. What did you think of the album? This was a very long rant. I'd say be kind in the comments. If you love this album, please tell me why, because I don't really understand how anyone could.
Someone's got to tell Miss Taylor Swift that you cannot deliver your industry call-out, ex-friend call-out, thinly veiled diss track album in a camp rock motif. Just doesn't work. Really undermines the impact of that message. And Swifties out there, come for me all you want. You're all wrong. It's trash. Taylor Swift's out here with her innuendos and Easter eggs. Like, you want someone who's directly calling it out? She ain't got shit on our patron saint, queen of the call-out, Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks dog-walked Lindsey Buckingham across every stage in America while they were mid-breakup. She got on stage and lyrically cursed this man and made him sing the backup vocals and play the guitar solos while she did it. I mean, I don't know what teeny bopper slam poetry nonsense that Minor Inconveniences of a Showgirl album was about, but man, have mercy. That was a 35-year-old woman who was singing that, and I was like, ugh. It's just weird.
What you're going through in life is going to affect whether you can relate to the music I'm putting out at any given moment. So right now, if you're not getting a good down by like a really well-hung man, you probably won't relate to my new album. The rule of show business, since you guys aren't in show business and don't know what it is if it's the first week of my album release and you are either saying my name or my album title, you are helping. I actually didn't care if you hated it. I wanted you to hate it. You don't understand show business. That's what I wanted. In art, I have a lot of respect for people's subjective opinions on art. I'm not the art police. Like, everyone is allowed to feel exactly how they want to feel. And the goal for us as entertainers is to be like a mirror. Oftentimes, an album is a really, really wild way to look at yourself, right? Like, I'm gonna mansplain what an album is now. What you're going through in life is going to affect whether you can relate to the music I'm putting out at any given moment. So right now, if you're not getting a good down by like a really well hung man, you probably won't relate to my new album. And what I often love seeing my fans say is like they didn't used to be someone who related to Reputation and now they've been through some stuff in their life and it's their favorite album. Or, you know, they used to be like a fearless girly and now they're obsessed with Evermore. So again, mansplaining it, it's going to depend on what you're going through in your life. If you're not engaged to a well-hung football player who he and I collectively have millions of dollars, you're not going to get it. And like, we're doing this thing for keeps, right? When I am making my music, I have my eye on my legacy. And my legacy right now is about getting it on in the bedroom. And that's what I'm going to sing about and write about. I know what I made and I know I adore it. And I know I adore Travis's Wood. And that's all that's on my mind. So besides that and, you know, some high school drama stuff, that's my life. That and yachts and private jets. And I know that's on theme of what like the showgirl is. And all of this is part of that. So that's my new album. I'm not the art police.
I understand this is a controversial topic because I know there are a lot of people out there who really love Taylor Swift. But I'm really worried about her, to be honest with you, because when she was younger, she was so cute and she had these just like cute, beautiful little songs that were adorable. Kids loved them. And I get it. She was a little girl. She's not a little girl anymore. But she knows she has the fan base that she has. But yet, have you looked at her new album's lyrics? Knowing that she has the fan base that she has, those lyrics are evil. They're evil. Sorry. I know it's controversial. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Does anybody else feel like Taylor Swift's new album is rage bait? Because there's absolutely positively no way on planet Earth that could not be rage bait. Like every time I hear, I don't listen to Taylor Swift. She's just not my vibe. But every time I listen to her, like the new album, when it pops up in my algorithm, it has to be rage bait. There's no way that's not rage bait. Did you girl boss Too Close to the Sun? Who let her release that?
And I've got new information. Don't be mad at me, Swifties, but I don't know if they're legit, okay? I'm hearing they could be fake or that they are fake. However, I've had multiple songs sent to me by my super sleuthy Swiftie sources. Multiple people texted me and DM'd me links and actual files. And while on one hand, you know, I believe my Swiftie sources, on the other hand, my other Swiftie sources that sent me these songs, they sound very real, but I'm told they're not real. So I don't know. I think the real test will be if these songs remain on social media. Some of them were sent directly to me, but some of them were uploaded to Elon Musk's platform. And if they're still up tonight, then I would imagine they're fake, right? But if these song snippets are deleted, why would you tell Elon's platform to delete fake songs? Does that make sense? If the songs are fake, I think they'll still be up tonight. Were they good, Bammy? Yes. These were all, I'm pretty sure this new album is exclusively produced by Max Martin. So if I had to describe the sound, it's not like Midnight's. Midnight's had a very different sound, but it definitely feels more like 1989 and Reputation. God, I wish I remembered like the lyrics. I can't. Wait, maybe I can. Wait, should I play? Let me play them in my ear so you can't hear it, and describe each snippet and lyrically what it's about. Hold on. All right, I got to make sure I'm not going to post any links, Terry. I'm not getting in trouble. And don't worry, I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to play it for myself and not loud enough so that you can hear it. I'll just describe, okay? All right. Oh God, I mean, if this really is true, I can't believe everything leaked. I mean, yesterday, the photos, the vinyl cover, and I guess it makes sense.
Can we just talk about for a second about how 8 out of 12 songs on Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl, is marked explicit? Now, I could give you the Bible verses about corrupt speech and filthy speech and all that, but I don't even think I need to, because the world itself is marking them. If the world, which doesn't even know Jesus, doesn't claim to follow Christ, has to mark them to let you know that, hey, there's some raunchy stuff in this. Hey, you should probably not let little kids listen to it. If they have to mark it, do you think as Christians, you should be listening to it? Serious question. Can we please stop pretending that Taylor Swift holds to Christian values? She doesn't. She is playing for the other team, y'all. You have to stop listening to it. You cannot be a part of the kingdom of light and be promoting and glorifying and singing along to the music of the kingdom of darkness. You can't do it. You can't play for both teams. It doesn't work. Because when you get to heaven, there will be no excuse for you. You will not be able to get to heaven as a Christian and say, well, Jesus, she said that she was a Christian, so I didn't know that I shouldn't be listening. The world told you. You didn't even have to get it from the Bible, although you should. There's no excuse.
People are like, the new Taylor Swift album is so bad. The new Taylor Swift album is so bad. And it is so bad that the first time I heard one of the songs, I thought that it was somebody's AI parody of it, but it's not. That's real. And honestly, a sign of the times. Conservative takeover, white Christian nationalist takeover. Of course the music is gonna fucking suck ass. It sounds like a monogrammed Vera Bradley pencil case.
To everybody that loves Taylor Swift but hates the new album, just know that that new album, what that sounds like to you, is what Taylor Swift has sounded like to all of us who don't like her music this whole time.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Do we know any black people? We don't. Right. Well, can we, do we know anybody who knows some? Yeah, we just need a couple, just no more than a handful, who are willing to do some pictures for us. Gigs well paid. Okay. We always pay our performers well. No. We don't need them to have any skill sets or anything. We just need them to have melanin. Turns out people have noticed. Yeah, I know. I thought the SS necklace was gonna be fine too, but yeah. These people, they don't like Nazis and they want diversity. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. But if you could, yeah, maybe get a couple of them on the horn for me. Oh, he doesn't know any either. We have to be able to find someone in this firm that knows somebody with melanin, right? You think we could get her to date? No, you're right. That's crazy. I never should have suggested that. No, they won't get SAG credits for this. They will not get SAG credits, but she's gonna repost it on her Instagram, so tell them that.
But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.